Hi everyone! So today I wanted to make a video going over some new magazine acquisitions and also sharing what I've been doing when it comes to storing my magazine pages because this year alone there's been so many magazines that have featured 2PM members inside or on the cover. And I really don't have the space to keep them all as is. So something I've been doing is I've been, I guess, dissecting these magazines and putting the pages that I want to keep in a sort of clear book, or these are also referred to as presentation books, as a way to just keep everything together instead of going, I guess, the binder route. And I've been pretty pleased with how this has turned out. So first I'm going to just go over the new magazines I have and share how I take them apart, then to put into the A4 clear books. And then also at the end do a flip through of all of my magazines that I've put into so far these two 80-page clear books. So I have two new magazines to share, just quick flip throughs and just mainly focusing on, of course, the 2PM related pages. The first is this Chansung cover of Maps for their September 2021 issue. I bought actually both of these on K-Town for You. I wanted to buy them on Aladdin because they tend to be cheaper and faster. But Aladdin only was doing random covers, and for Maps specifically, Chansung and Wooyoung had a cover, and then there was also Yurin on cover C. So I wanted either Chansung or Wooyoung, preferably Chansung because I don't have, or I haven't had a magazine with him on the cover yet. So I went and bought both of these on K-Town for You. It didn't really matter which one I got for this Esquire that has Junho inside. But I did like, I guess, this cover the best, and as I'll share in my little clear books, I do like keeping the covers of magazines even if a 2PM member is not on it, just for reference of where the pages came from. But let me share Maps first. So this is my first Maps magazine actually, and it's much more artsy than I was expecting. And I can't really do a full flip through because there is some, I guess, artful nudity in it. So I'm going to skip some of these pages and just give you like a taste of what some of it looks like. And then we have Wooyoung and Chansung together here. And I really love their photo shoot. Styling and everything it's really great. And this is the image that was for Wooyoung's cover. And this is, of course, the cover of the one I got. And I just love Chansung in this pleated skirt or kilt. And yeah. And so just a little bit more of just kind of what this magazine looks like. So yeah, I will be keeping the cover here. So I'll I guess show you after I flip through the Esquire magazine how I take this apart and able to extract the pages to put them in the A4 clear book. So now the Esquire magazine. So this is the September Esquire. So the second Esquire Junho's been in this year. This guy's a bit chunkier, which is again why I wanted to condense things. So just flip through this until we get to Junho's part, which is right here. So I really loved the photo shoot for this one, so I'm really glad I got this, even though I was a little hesitant at first since there's just been so many magazines recently. And unfortunately, I couldn't buy Tech's latest one from Indeed because I couldn't find a good shop that was selling it other than Yes24, which they're kind of expensive to ship from directly. But this is, I guess, the third in the series of Junho doing an advertising, I guess, photo shoot. And this photo in particular, just all these photos are so good. I think this is the best one he's done so far. So yeah, I will again share how I remove the cover from these two. Okay, so back again with maps. The easiest way I found to remove the pages is to first just remove the cover. So I'm going to start tearing the spine off here. Some magazines it's easier to keep the spine, but the A4 size book here, I think I might actually need to trim this because this magazine is not exactly A4 size, I don't think, but let's see. Yeah, so basically I just kind of go in and start ripping. Trying to keep the spine intact, but if it's not intact, that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. So, there is this. And the back cover doesn't matter. I won't be keeping that. And I tore this. So, yeah, you could be a lot more diligent than me, but here is the cover. And now that the spine has been cracked, it'll be easier to go in and also tear this. So I'm just going to tear that cover because their photo shoots towards the back. So I'm going to tear off everything before. So I found just muscling. And tearing off what you don't need to be the easiest. So now we have these things to keep. So just grab hold of it and tear. I do have a tool that I use to clean up the edges, though I don't always use it. It depends the size of the magazine. And I found after doing so many of these magazine dissections that not all magazines are created equal. So sometimes it's, instead of just taking the entire section out, just doing a few pages at a time. It's a little bit easier. That's the case with this one. So let's see if I can get the rest going. So yeah, you want to avoid big tears like that. Let me have this. And finally, it's being a little stubborn. So I'm going to tack it from this angle. I think the glue focused right there. So this is the part that it does matter if you tear it, whether or not. So be careful. There you go. Yeah, and there was no other section here with them because they don't really have a glossary like a lot of the Japanese magazines do, which you'll see when I do my flip through. Alright, so I'm going to do the same process with Esquire here. I'm keeping the cover intact. There's the cover, which is not perfect. That's okay. And I can just tear off that cover, make it easier. Junho is here, so tear off what you don't need. And I really don't want to tear these pages, so I'm just going to do 2 at a time. Yeah, this tore out really nicely, which was the case with the other Esquire magazine. So I might not even need to cut or clean up the edges there. This. And this last one. Voila. Alright, so I have 2 of these, but I think I'm going to have to break out a new binder, because how I have things organized so far is in the screen one, I have all of my group related magazine shoots, as well as the old boys, plus Young magazines in here. And so this has basically reached capacity, though I did leave a few pages for the new Nylon Japan magazine photo shoot, which is coming out, I want to say today, in Japan, or at least soon. And then this one is almost full. I'm probably going to fill up the last few pages with the Esquire magazine in here, and this houses all of my Junho related magazine shoots. Because when I started actually collecting these back in like 2018, there was a lot of Junho magazines, especially coming out in Japan, and it was very easy for me to buy using Amazon Japan and proxy services. And a lot of those also came with additional cards, so it was just incentive for me to buy all of them. But yeah, so that's where the Esquire ones will probably go. This here. But for maps, I'm going to put those away in the new binder. So I'm gonna link where I bought these on Amazon. So I bought these as a set. I've also used a different brand, which looks like this. It's a little dusty. And I actually had these for storing my A4 clear files, though they stuck out a little bit at the top. So at first I wanted to maybe repurpose these for magazines, but this only holds 40 pages, whereas this one's 80, and the 80 filled up really quickly. So I found this brand also offers them in larger sizes. I bought this off of Amazon Japan, so I'll also link that in the description. One thing to note though is that I've noticed that A4 sizing, depending on how they bind it, is a little different. So this is a bit wider, so if you don't want to cut into your magazine as much, this brand might be something good to consider. I like the aesthetics of this, with how the plastic was formed and everything. So that's why I wanted to try this. And overall, I'm pretty happy with it, though it's not structured as nicely as I would say this brand. And that I've had to trim off the edges a bit more on the magazine shoots, which isn't a big deal, but it still requires a little bit more work to put them in here. Alright, so it looks like this inside. So it's split into half basically, so 40 pages on this side, 40 on this side. So obviously this is imperfect, but I want to see how much I need to trim off. So yeah, I would have to trim off the spine anyway, so it's okay that this tore a little bit. And what I do to trim these is I use a cutting tool, which is what I use to straighten out all of my kind of paper dividers and things. And there's not really a precision how I do this. I just kind of eyeball it. And cut so it has a nice clear or straight edge. And I'm just going to pop this in. Oh, another thing to note, the different brands also have different page textures. So this is still a bit thinner than this brand, which the brand name's escaping me, but when I look it up, I'll have it in the description. And you have to kind of work this to have it open up the pocket. But you should be able to slip it in easily. Like that. And then for these guys, I'm going to trim off the edges here, because this will also need to be trimmed just to fit, and then also just to clean it up. So I'll do that quickly. And again, I always eyeball these. This should fit nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of these. And then share what I'm going to do for the next magazine. All right, now for Esquire. I probably should have done edge a little bit better, but as you can see, I'm going to have to trim off this anyway. So I'm just going to take the white spine off and see how it is. And I'll just put this here. Fits nicely. And then these guys, I'm pretty sure I won't need a trim, because they should just slip right in. Yeah, so that's a nice thing about Esquire, and also I think GQ is similar. So I'm going to just put all these inside and away, and then get to the flip through. All right, so I'm going to start with this green binder, which, as I mentioned earlier, houses all of the group spreads that I currently have, as well as some of the other non-Junho solo member spreads. And I will also mention that all the magazines in here that came out before 2018, I generally just acquired secondhand on Japanese sites because they're a good price. So this is Star 1 from 2013. So I think Grown Era. Also Legend of 2 PM era. So this is a Korean magazine, but I think they also publish in Japan. So that's why this is Japanese. And I noticed some of the magazines that first publishes in Korea, but then released something in Japan, The Japanese ones are this kind of A4 size and a bit nicer quality. Some of the magazines that released in Korea, they could be really large and kind of like on newsprint instead of magazine print. So yeah, this is still Star 1, so they're covering also the Legend of 2 PM concert. And then they also were on the back cover. And then I have this Camp Cam magazine from 2015, I want to say, and I actually didn't go and take out all the pages because it's a nice little booklet. And I noticed also with Japanese magazines, it's hard to store things, especially that are text heavy, when you have a clear book that goes left to right instead of right to left. So some of the pages you're going to see in here are not in the right order. So I kind of ordered them to fit and what looked nice. For example, Balia, another Japanese magazine. So you're going to see a lot of Japanese magazines in here. I had to kind of restructure things so it flowed nicely. But yeah. And so this was during Gentleman's Game era. And then I also stuck the cover for Oh Boy in here, which has Somi on it, not 2 PM. Again, I like to do that just to kind of archive what magazine the following pages come from. And I like Somi. The picture's cute. This one kind of compiles a lot of previous 2 PM spreads, which is interesting for Minjun, Junho, Nokun, and Chansung. So they're going to see the A cuts that were in previous magazines, kind of all here. So Junho had a spread with this photo shoot and another spread with this photo shoot. And Nokun was also in this magazine, and Chansung and Junkei for different years and issues. And then they have some unreleased cuts, and this kind of nice A4 size, and I just adore this Junho one here, and the other ones are nice as well. And I stuck Minjun's B cut back here because it fit, and I tried to save as much space as possible because there's only 80 pages in here. Here is where I have the Nylon Japan spread reservation. So I just kind of stuck these here. It's probably too many pages, to be honest, but I can always move other things up. And then I went member order to make it easy. So I have some Barfoot, I have no idea how you pronounce that, magazines. So this is during No Time era. And he's actually featured, I think, in 4 different issues of this magazine. So it'd be nice to go back and get the first 2 that were released. But so far I have this one, and then this one that came out this year for, this is not a song. And then I have a Thai magazine, so Nylon Thailand, with Kun and I'm not sure who she is. But yeah. So there's a nice spread, and I've noticed some of these magazines are shorter, or the Japanese magazines tend to be a full A4 size or bigger, so you have to kind of cut them. Whereas it looks like for Nylon Thailand, this was shorter, and then I had to trim a lot on the side, so it was a bit more square. That's the only Kun one I have, and then I have a bunch of Tekken ones. Again, because he's featured in a lot of acting magazines in Japan, and those are the easiest for me to acquire as far as magazines go. And I try to structure these in release order, but I might have some of that wrong. But yeah. So here's one, and then the Japanese magazines also tend to have little profiles of the things that they've acted in the past, and an advertisement for their latest kind of project. And they also come with posters, which I just slip in a page here. I don't know what else to do with a nice poster like that. So it works conveniently, like so. And we have this one. And I think in terms of quality, I really like the Japanese paper and print. When it comes to their magazines, I feel like they're the most consistent. And they tend to have, they sometimes recycle photos, which I'll show in Junho's in a bit. And this is another magazine that I believe is a Korean release, and then they released it in Japan. So this is the star for Young, and then I also just stuck the back cover here, which was advertising for their Wild Beat DVD in Japan. And I don't always put the table of contents or that had a Young picture there. And it fit. And I really love this photo shoot for him. And this magazine also went back to some previous issues with different idols on it. And so they have cuts from these two that I just kept in here. So yeah, that is the first one. And I'll quickly show you maps that I just added in here. So this might actually have to go in there. Once I figure out how many pages the Nylon Japan magazine that's coming out soon will take up. Yeah. This is how this turned out. And now for Yoons Binder. I don't have any really older magazines for him. These are all ones that I've just bought, or these are all the ones I purchased since 2018, basically. So I think this is the first one I bought. Some of these don't have dates on it, so they're kind of in loose consecutive order. But this is TOP. And this was right after Just Between Lovers came out. And you see there's some recycling photos in here. You're going to see a lot of that, especially when he goes on hiatus, being in the military, and then they're still releasing like Japanese DVDs of his dramas. So they kind of recycle photos, which is okay. This is the poster. I stuck it in here. And also Minjun was in this issue. So I like to keep all the pages for each issue together. So he's in here for his My 20s release. And then this is probably one of my favorite magazines I have for Junho. And just the photos in here are adorable. And casual. I like him in casual attire. And this is another poster. And then this is, I think, when they're advertising for Chief Kim DVD set. So this one actually might be older than the first one, but again, they're kind of in semi-order. And then this is Haruhama, and I just love the yellow. And this, and I kept all these. No, I'm not really sure what all these say, but I'm sure someone's translated it somewhere. But as you may not have noticed, the order is totally off. So I kind of just, again, piece together what makes sense. I have to do that, or take liberties, especially for the Japanese magazines, because it's not always easy to do right or left right with right left sort of content. And then he's in a lot of TV guides, which is what this is. And I think this is around Walk of Love. And then Advertising for Roses and Tulips. And Confession. This is the big issue. So this is a Korean magazine that came out around when he had his last full concert before his military hiatus. And another TV guide for Walk of Love. Yeah, lots of Walk of Love here. So yeah, this is more, not when Walk of Love came out, but when they released the DVD set or were advertising for it. So a few months later, or I think in this case half a year later, as well as Roses and Tulips and Confession. And this is the poster. Another TV guide with, again, I think advertising for Walk of Love, yeah. So maybe when it was streaming, so yeah. Chansung was also in this magazine. So I have him there. He was just on a single page. I think for when he was doing Queen for 7 days. And then we have K-Boy. So there were a lot of magazines around when they were advertising for Walk of Love, basically. And right when he was about to enlist. And then another short Chansung spread in the same magazine. And I think, sorry, yeah, this was a poster. And then I also stuck this one in here. This is Hollywoodpedia. Mostly, I bought this because it came with a postcard advertising for Home Hotel, but there's only 2 pages of what you know on it. But yeah, I kept it in here just because I had it. And then we have now the start of magazines when he came back. So this is GQ. And also the start of when he started doing all these ads. So this is for this cologne, basically. And then Esquire, the first one that came out in August, advertising for this whiskey. And then finally, the latest Esquire magazine, advertising for this watch company. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with how I think compiling these into a clear book helps not only with space. I feel like I have more incentive to actually flip through these and look at the pictures of these magazines I bought, because before they were just sitting on a shelf gathering dust. And I like how, even though I have to trim some of these down a bit, and not everything is like in the right order, I prefer having them in something like this than, I think, whole. And this will also definitely help with future magazines that will be released. So I have more incentive, I guess, to buy those, knowing that they're not going to take up too much room in something like this. So I hope this video was interesting and helpful for anyone who's also interested in collecting magazines and not sure what to do with them. Again, I have links. I'll have links in the video description of the products I used, but I'm sure any A4 size clear book or presentation book should do the trick if you want to compile magazine pages in here. And a cutting tool like this is very easy to find nowadays. I'll link. This one's super old, as you can see, kind of dingy, so I don't think I can find this exact one, but I'll find a similar product so you know what to search for when you look for one, if you need it. But yeah, that's it for this video. I will probably have another video sharing what the nylon Japan magazines look like, and of course all the other things that will be coming out soon with their new Japanese mini album. So bye for now.